Back in 2017, we started a project to create statues of Rinpoche's previous lives. A few years before that, Rinpoche's complete incarnation lineage and his 24 previous lives had been confirmed by Dorje Shugden via the Panglong Oracle. So it's a very significant project for us. When we make statues to honor our teacher's previous incarnations, we collect the merits so that our teacher will be able to manifest even more of his previous life's great deeds. This is a Tibetan Buddhist tradition. When you look at the statues of Rinpoche's previous lives, you will see that they have different hand gestures, they're wearing the robes, the hat, the implements that they carry. These are aspects of the iconography of the statue. So it's very important to make statues according to the correct iconography because it's based on the great deeds of these previous lives of Rinpoche's. So there's a certain blessing associated with these great deeds. Rinpoche's incarnation line goes back 2,500 years. That's a really long time. But fortunately for us, his previous lives are all very well known in Buddhist history. We're talking about great Dharma kings of Tibet, great scholars who composed meditational texts, philosophical texts, compiled many translations, the entire breadth of Buddha's teachings, and also started great tantric traditions like Vajrayogini. Because they were so prominent, there are many accounts of their life stories and their achievements, and many depictions of them in old tankas and statues. So we did some research and we visited some monasteries in China where they're actually painted on wall murals. Then we compiled the most common features to decide how they should look. We were also very lucky to work with an artist who can make very lifelike statues. As you can see, the statues have all arrived in Kechara Forest Retreat. We're now cleaning and painting them in preparation for when the Relic Temple is completed. I would like to tell you some stories of Rinpoche's previous lives. And let me begin with the great Mahasiddha Naropa in ancient India. He was an interesting incarnation because his story exemplifies devotion to a spiritual teacher. It is told in the monasteries, in scriptures, in Dharma books. He's the ideal, the perfect example of Guru devotion. Interestingly, when he started off as a prince, he renounced his royal life and entered the monastery and became an incredible scholar. Then what happened was, one day, an old lady suddenly out of nowhere appeared and spoke to him and asked him, "Do you understand the meaning of the text that you're learning, you're reciting and you are teaching?" And he said, "I do." And then the old hag, the old woman, cried and said, "You're lying. You do not." And he thought for a while and he wondered, "So who can I learn the meaning of the scriptures?" And he said, "Tilopa, my brother. Seek Tilopa." And that started the whole entire journey of Naropa looking for his master. He went the length and breadth of ancient India searching for this elusive master by the name of Tilopa. And when he finally found his master Tilopa, his master said, "I don't know you. You're not my student." And he gave him a beating and began a whole series of stories, tales of how Naropa devoted himself despite Tilopa not accepting him as a student. And he did it wholeheartedly. And in the end of this whole episode of devotion, of utter faith in a spiritual master, the master gave him teachings, gave him initiation, and within 6 months of practice, Naropa became enlightened. And when he became enlightened, he had a vision of the female Buddha, Vajrayogini. And hence, Naropa, besides the example of Guru devotion, he was known for his practice of Vajrayogini, the Naro Kachari lineage of Vajrayogini. So he was the starter, the progenitor, the creator of this tantric system, Vajrayogini. Incidentally, Tsem Rinpoche's devotion to his teacher is just like Naropa, which becomes an inspiration for all of us practitioners of the Dharma. Panchen Sonatrapa is another very important incarnation of Rinpoche's because he was an extremely erudite scholar, highly regarded by his peers, some of the greatest masters of Tibet. And he was so esteemed that in his lifetime, he managed to achieve an incredible feat of being an abbot of Ganden Sera Drepung, and also ascend the throne of Lama Tsongkhapa, which is to be the Ganden Tripa, the head of the Gelug tradition, all in one lifetime. Panchen Sonatrapa was the student of the second Dalai Lama, Gyaltsen Gyatso. And interestingly, he was also the teacher to the third Dalai Lama, Sonam Gyatso. Aside from that, he was also an incredible scholar, an incredible prolific writer. And he composed many texts, many of which are used by the monastery today as textbooks to study in order to be a geshe. A geshe is a doctorate of Buddhism. So basically, monks are studying his writings till today in order to pass their geshe exams. What an incredible scholar he is. I would like to tell you another story of Rinpoche's previous incarnation, the great Tibetan Emperor Trisong Detsen. He was a Buddhist emperor, one of the greatest of Tibet, and he introduced Buddhism into Tibet by inviting the great master, the Indian master, Shantarakshita, and later on Guru Padmasambhava. Along with inviting the great masters, he also founded the first Tibetan Buddhist monastery, Samye. Naturally, with the monastery, the first generation of Tibetan monks was ordained. As a result of his great deeds, Buddhism was disseminated in Tibet for the first time. And from there, it has descended down into what we know as Tibetan Buddhism today. There's so much I could tell you about Rinpoche's previous lives, but we don't have enough time. But the main point is that Rinpoche's previous incarnations were very special beings who accomplished very significant deeds, just like Rinpoche himself. Now that Rinpoche has entered clear light, this project is even more significant because we want to create causes for Rinpoche's next incarnation to manifest the great deeds of his previous life.